Well, what do you do when you're simply too tired to get out there and run? You have absolutely no energy in the system to don your trainers and hit the next session in your running plan. Well, welcome to Aspiring Runners. My name's Ray Whitby and I'm your host. I'm going to take you through this episode of what to do when running tired or you simply have no energy to get out there. There are a number of things that you really need to think about if you are trying to get out the door, but your body is just saying to you that you're simply too tired, it cannot cope, you don't want to do it, your mind is just in a complete lethargic state and just has had enough and won't commit to the training program. So what would you do? And here's a few ideas out of experience, trying to collate the experience of others as well, as to how to approach your mindset when you're ready to head out the door and start your run. If you are too tired, and this is an ongoing thing, certainly one of the major things that you need to investigate is whether you're carrying any injury or illness. And a lot of that will come from self-diagnosis, but equally if you're unsure, certainly got to get yourself to a medical professional. Somebody who can at least take your blood work, go through your chemistry, go through your history, and hopefully piece together if there is anything that's preventing you from getting out there to run. Always get some professional advice on that particular front. It can be very, very useful because you may try the rest of the tips in this particular video and not realize there's actually something inside that is preventable, but it needed somebody else that could step in to help you. But other things you could look at as part of self-diagnosis could be looking at your nutrition. Are you eating the right kind of foods, or are you just gorging on the kind of wrong things that would be really bad for running? Too much processed sugars, for example, too much processed meat. Is there not enough of the right kind of energy that's delivering on your runs? And again, it just makes you feel a little bit tired within the feedback of your muscles. They simply have seemingly no ability to just turn over the legs and keep going. And one other thing could be fluids. Are you drinking enough? Drinking enough of the right stuff? Drinking too much of the wrong stuff? And what's one of the other tips? Looks at potentially having a spot of caffeine to see if you can jerk your system up, just to wake it up a little bit. Could it be that you're overindulging on too much caffeine? Hello. And you need to keep your body hydrated, no matter what. It's the most important thing. Part of any exercise, any sports activity, you've got to keep the fluids up. Your body will just collapse into a heap. It's been so well documented, and you've got to take care of yourself. Get the water in. Even better is get your electrolytes in, making sure you've got the right kind of ions within the system that enables effective energy transfer. But one word of caution, of course, is don't overdo it. There is the ability to drink too much and to see your cells explode under the sheer volume of water intake. Very deadly. You need to be very careful. Some other things could be, what is the time of day that you feel most alive at? Is it early in the morning, middle of the day, in the evening, at night time? Can you adapt your day in order to run at that particular time? It may take a bit of an effort. It may actually be impossible if you're working to take some time out. Your lunch breaks possibly aren't long enough, assuming you even get a lunch break. But certainly trying to find a time when your body feels the most relaxed, but not in a lethargic state, when your body is at least not feeling as though it's just about to fall asleep, but potentially could get up and do something if you had enough motivation to do it. And if it's not the time of day, You might also want to think about the time of year. You may have come across seasonally affected disorders, SAD. Got a friend of mine who does suffer from SAD quite chronically, and during the winter months finds that he has almost no energy at all. And he's tried vitamin C, vitamin D shots, vitamin D, and yet doesn't seem to have really taken the edge off. And maybe a reluctant but a resignation to say that he cannot do much training during that particular time of the year. Now, if your body is just really tired out and has every indication of just wanting to curl up, close your eyes and go to sleep, then maybe that's exactly what you need to do. Think about napping, taking a short power nap. Now, I've never responded well to the power naps. I think I need at least an hour for my nap. But I'm quite happy to take one during the day. But then I wake up feeling a little bit groggy, probably in some ways worse than when I started the nap. But then I find after waking up about an hour, I've got the energy to get out and do a lot more than I did before I had the nap. So again, it can be very, very useful. Just thinking about your resting. Are you sleeping well enough? Are you sleeping long enough? Is it comfortable enough? Do you sleep deeply enough? And there are a number of apps that you can get for your phone that can connect up to a smartwatch that can monitor your sleeping activity. Maybe that can reveal something of interest that can help you adjust your sleeping patterns. And who knows, maybe you'll reach that mythical state that seems to have eluded me for many decades, is to wake up feeling so refreshed, so energetic, I could run a marathon before breakfast. It's never happened yet. I doubt it will happen still, but miracles do happen, as they say. And I mentioned earlier caffeine. Maybe you just need a little bolt of energy. But again, being very, very careful. I know that caffeine tabs are highly spoken of, certainly in the latter part of long races, of marathons and ultra marathons. And they can be a useful stimulus when your body is under great stress. But equally, if you're gorging on caffeine every other time of the day, every other week of the year, the effect of caffeine at that point could actually be the problem rather than the help. It could be the hindrance. So you've got to really take everything in a certain amount of moderation. And the other part could be, what else are you doing? What else are you up to? How are you spending your days and your weeks? Are you just maxed out with work? Are you maxed out trying to do other hobbies? Have you got so much other stress in your life that all your energy, your mental energy, is focused on these stresses? The procrastination can be such a tiring thing. I know that. So what do you do? Well, that comes down to the individual and how to resolve it. How easy is it to resolve? Are you going to carry these types of stresses for the rest of your life? But I think even with the stresses, happens to us all. Something that's got to be realised is that getting out and running, certainly getting out and exercising, participating in sports, can be such a release from stress. So in order to get over that stress, you've got to run. But if the stress is causing you problems with energy levels, I can understand why you may choose to stay at home, pull your feet up, open up a bottle of wine, put on a movie, grab a pizza. And I think really you've got to be quite disciplined then to say, no, I need to get out there, need to try, need to train. Now, I have spent many times coming home from work, long days, cold days during the winter period. And the last thing I want to do after cycling home, seeing the family, is to then don my running gear, get out there and hit the session, whatever that session may be. Especially hard when it's been cold at work or damp. I can feel it in my bones. All I really want to do, climb into a hot bath, stay there for a couple of hours, by which time I really have no desire to then put on my running gear. But what I have found though is to do a bit of trial and error. So whilst your body may say it's so super tired that it can't do any work at all, but sometimes it can be the mindset that's tricking your body into thinking that it's true. So getting out there and just doing it, regardless of being a little bit tired or even feeling fully tired, where every muscle in your body is just almost asleep, just get out there in your running gear, get out into the elements, just go for a couple of minutes, see how you get on. Maybe that's enough of a stimulus to keep you going. Just extend that running a little bit farther, just go a little bit longer and see how you get on. Another couple of minutes, just keep adding to it until you may find that your body's fully alive and ready to do a lot more and take on an even bigger challenge. So I think trial and error certainly is a wonderful thing. And if you're still struggling through having got out there and it's not working for you, then there could be some other factors. It could be something psychological, it could be stress, it could even be depression. It's hard to know. But again, one would advocate going to find a professional, talk it through with them, and see what they say. Talk it through with the friends. Can they be a help through these particular times? And through a bit technical, I think through trial and error, at least you'll know that what works for you, or you've tried everything, it's not working for you. But at least it should be a process of elimination and leaving you with some clearer ideas of what your next steps should be. And then we need to look at keeping those targets attainable. And I've said in the first couple of videos that really it's about, certainly as you're starting running or starting again, keeping it realistic, keeping it within an easy to reach goal, calling it low-hanging fruit for running. There's no point trying to immediately go for a 10k run if you haven't run at all and have no indication that you're capable of reaching it, only to fail after the first 500 meters. But with a goal in mind, as we said, every run should have a goal. Every run should have a goal, and each goal fits into a strategy. But keep it attainable. Don't hang on to it so tightly that you'll fail and potentially never run again. Could possibly be the worst thing for you. And I think great discipline can come from it, of setting realistic goals that are just pushing your body on that little bit forward each time, rather than trying to go for dramatic improvements in your running performance. Sometimes it's a process of incremental improvements, and actually being part of some kind of race on a regular basis can help, or a regular run, finding that route that you know well, standard distance, keep going again and again, and over the weeks and months, logging all the data down. What was your pace? What was your heart rate? How did you feel through it? What were the conditions? Did you feel within yourself that you had the energy, or lack thereof? Having a log is very, very useful. It allows you to go back over data and try and see any patterns to your running and your running performance. And whether you're on target to hit your aspirations as they are. And yeah, again, there's no need to overthink it too much. Certainly within the first few runs, just get out there, see how you feel, and make sure, above all else, keep saying it, you've got to enjoy it. If you're not enjoying running and you're doing it because you've got to get healthy, it's the worst possible incentive in the world. Now, change your mindset a little bit. Yes, there are improvements that you may need to make, but reward yourself with it. Obviously not with big sugary treats, as we found out. Could have a major negative impact on your running performance. But you've got to keep your enthusiasm through it And if it requires you taking a couple of weeks out before trying again, so be it. I'd recommend to try and leave the breaks as short as possible, where it's safe as possible to do so with whatever health or injuries you may have. And then you got to look at finding the time for getting out there to run. And that can be one of the biggest reasons for never heading out the door, that you are simply too busy. There's too much going on in your life, and that is, of course, all part of the stress of living in this world, and it does have a negative impact. And trying to find the time, again, can be a process of mental discipline. There are a number of things you can try in order to really psych yourself up for each run, especially if you keep crying off, if you keep projecting your mindset to go for a run because your body is just saying it's too tired. And some things that can help would be, if you find that you are a morning runner, get your running gear ready the night before. If you find that you prefer running in the evenings or after work, get your running gear prepared in the mornings, so that when you arrive at home, or when you wake up at home, the running gear is there as a reminder that you wanted to go out. Say to yourself the night before or the morning before your run's planned, yes, I'm going to do it. Yes, I want to do it. Yes, I'm going to commit to doing it. And it is mind over matter. Saying it in your head, I'm going to commit to doing it. You'll run out of excuses because you've already said you will do it. And yes, you may feel tired, but go back to the previous point. Trial and error. You're feeling tired, get out there and do it. See how well you get on. Other things can be simply booking your runs into a calendar on your smartphone or a diary. Do we use diaries anymore? I haven't seen one for quite a few years. My wife says I need to get one for work. I could think of better presents, quite frankly. And consider your priorities of life, of course. Running may be quite a low one. Physical exercise may be quite a low one compared to family, compared to marriage time, compared to, in certain cases, work. It is a necessity. Money makes this world go round. We do need to live, and we have a certain level of responsibilities. So I totally get that running as a priority could be quite low on the list. And it's still a case of finding time. I would say if you found enough time to go onto the internet to find this particular video, I think you could spend enough time getting out there, just trying a 10-minute run, seeing how you get on. So I'd say a lot of it is down to mental preparation and potentially not just willing to settle, but being spurred on. Again, maybe you need to find a running buddy, maybe join a running club. But I know that if you start missing sessions with a friend or a club, it gets harder and harder each time to go out. And in many ways, when I started running again, that's what I prefer to do, was just run alone. So nobody was dependent on me until I found confidence in myself to run. And low branch. Confidence in myself to run, and seeing the big improvements before I could then join other people and not feel so self-conscious. But that was my personal battle. That may not be yours. My encouragement is much better to be in company if you're struggling than to do it alone. Now, by way of a recap for this particular video, if you're too tired to run, you've got no energy, and you're really struggling to get out the door, some of the things you need to look at, get a complete health check. Examine your lifestyle, look for potential indicators of health, illness, nutrition, fluids. Is your body responding correctly in the time of year? 2, maybe a bit of trial and error. It's getting out there and seeing what your body can do. You may find it does wake up a little bit and allows you to get on and go a little bit longer, a little bit faster. Keep it, number 3, attainable targets. Keep it within an achievable limit for you where you're at right now. Again, this is about the early stages of the run. Imagine that you were trying to sprint through life. You would fall over within the first day. It's just impossible. You've got to think of life almost as a marathon. You're in it for the long haul. If you're getting into running, it's not just a case of, I'm a weekend warrior, wake up one Saturday morning and I want to have achieved all my targets by Monday morning. It's not going to happen. These things take months and years and years and even more years. But it's the aspirational targets that you have during that is the high that you get, and the rewards that you give yourself on the way, and the performance improvements that you can show yourself that you can achieve by commitment. It's like anything in life, any relationship in life. It's not just a one-hit wonder. It takes time and investment to make it work properly. And then you got to look at finding the time, and that may be a case of some extreme mental discipline and trying to sort out some priorities. Maybe there's something in your life that you can give so that you can put running in as a much higher priority than it currently is. But equally, I'd say don't stress too much about it, because I think as soon as you stress, it'll be something seeded negatively within your mindset that will have a major impact on running and potentially keep you away for a very long time, if not forever. That's not what we want. So those are the key recommendations, and it'd be nice to know if you've got some other ideas, some other tips, some other advice that could be useful for the community of runners out there. So join me next time on Aspiring Runners. Thanks very much. Bye.